Hi everybody, this is Explorer 867 and today is the first day of the rest of your life, so get out and enjoy it. Get out and see something new, or in this case, get out and do something new. I'm going to restore these snow wheels for my F-250, and as you can see, I used to run these with wheel covers. I no longer am going to do that, so I want to restore these wheels so they look decent. So I'm going to start out with 100 grit sandpaper and sand down all the imperfections in the paint, and then I'm going to follow up here with a 600 grit sandpaper. So we'll get started here. We just come in here and knock this down with this 100 grit sandpaper. It's really not a bad job. I've done this many times over the years, and the finished product is really pretty nice. Okay, so we've got this sanded all down with the 100 grit sandpaper, so now I'm going to go over it with the 600 and just kind of smooth everything out and touch it up and get all the little spots that weren't hit with the 100 grit. Get those sanded down so the paint will stick. So we'll just go on around here and just kind of give it a light sanding with this. That's all it takes. Get into this groove here. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to use the air compressor and we want to blow all the dust off this. So that we can then do the final wipe down, and I've got a product that we'll use, I'll show you in just a minute, that I use after we get all the dust cleaned up to prep for the primer. Make sure you blow out all these cracks and crevices. Okay, this is a product called Prep Clean, and what it does is you spray it down on your project that you're going to paint, and if there's any wax, any oil, anything that would cause the paint not to stick, it will take care of that. It will help remove it, and then you wipe it down with a clean cloth. So I just go around, just spray it on. Like so. Make sure you wear gloves and do this in a ventilated space, and then you just go on around and wipe everything down. And this stuff really does a good job at, like I said, at cleaning the surface up and prepping it for the prime coat, and just makes all the difference in the project outcome and really the longevity of the paint project, because the better you prep, the better the outcome is going to be. Okay, so now we've finished with the that prep cleaner. So what I'll do is I'm just going to blow it off, and that'll help dry everything. And that cleaner dries quick anyway. Now we're going to use the tape, and we're going to tape around the edge between the tire and the wheel. So in this process, all you do is just take short pieces of tape, and the blue tape is, the painter's tape is really good, which is what this is, and you hold it vertical, and then you run it right along the edge of the wheel and the tire, and then walk it in. And you just continue doing this all the way around, and just attention to detail here makes a big difference in the outcome. Okay, so now we've got the blue tape all the way around the rim and the tire. So what we want to do is you want to take a small flat blade screwdriver, and then where the tape meets the wheel, you want to just run that around the edge. And what this does is it pushes the blue tape down. Anything that's sticking to the rim pushes it down into the crack between the tire and the rim, so it gives you a good finish all the way around, so there's no tape interfering with the paint hitting the wheel. Okay, and as you can tell, I've used this on other wheels. But anyhow, so this will go around the perimeter of the tire here, and you'll just stick this down. You may need to use a little new tape around it to hold it down, because when it gets paint on the tape, eventually it'll lose its stickiness. So we'll just put this all the way around the wheel here, and we'll go back and put a little more tape to it. Okay, and so we'll put new tape around the edge here, the areas that aren't sticking well. In the shop today doing this, because the weather here in Central Oregon has taken a change again, and it's cold, and it's been raining off and on outside. So okay, and I'm using a Rust-Oleum. It's a self-etching primer, really, for this project. You could get by without it, but because I've got areas on the wheel of bare metal, I just want to use self-etching primer for that. So when you put this on, you want to just fog it on and give yourself a couple of coats. Make sure you get the rim right around the edge where the tire and the wheel meet. Get that real good. And all these little cracks and crevices in here. We're ready to put the top coat on, and what I'm using here is Rust-Oleum hammered finish for the top coat. And reason being, I do a lot of off-roading, as you guys well know, with the truck, and so these are going to go through the brush and get banged up and beat up, and so this stuff's pretty resilient to that, and it doesn't show the imperfections quite as much. So when they get scratched up downstream, it won't show the imperfections quite as much. And also, it's really easy to touch up with this too, just as well. As I'm using paint inside the shop here, I am going to be wearing a respirator suitable for exposure to a little bit of paint dust. So let me see if I can get this on. It should be a real comical thing. So what you guys will want to do is make sure keep these cans shaken up real well, and just before you spray again, go around and make sure all your tape is still intact, so you're not going to get any spray on the tires as you're going here. So anyhow, so give it a good shake here. I've already been shaking this earlier today, but give it a shake for a minute or so. Okay, here we go. apply your coats lightly and multiple coats. I let this set about 15 minutes in between each coat. The paint itself dries real quick to the touch. So we've let this sit now for about 45 minutes since the last coat. And so I'll take the paper off protecting the wheel, but I'll leave the tape trim right around the rim and the tire to take off after it's thoroughly dried, say after about 24 hours. So let's go ahead and take this paper off. You can see this comes right off fairly easily. I'm going to flop this back. And you can reuse this on your the next wheel. So here we are, and like I said, this tape here around the outside edge, we'll leave that on there. We'll leave that on there until this dries for about 24 hours. I'm going to move it now from here into the heated shop and let it cure in there for now. Well, as you can see, the project is complete now. They turned out really nice. The wheels are protected from all the ice melt they put on the roads here in the wintertime, so if there's any metal exposed, it rusts immediately. So they're protected from that. They look good, and you know, it was kind of a fun project. It took me, I guess in all, probably about an hour per wheel to prep them and paint them. So I've got about 4 hours in the project in all, so that's not too bad. $20 in materials, and just to give you an idea, an example, I had some wheels done for my wife's car. I had them powder coated, aluminum wheels, and that project cost about $100 per wheel. So this is economical, and it's something you can do, you know, in one day. So anyhow, hope you enjoyed this. This is Explorer 867, and if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, click on the subscribe button, and click on the bell, and you'll get the latest content as I release it on the channel. And I look forward to seeing you in the great outdoors.